If your LLM agent looks something like this, where you have a large input prompt, which you put only through one single LLM call, and then a large output prompt, I'm sorry to say it, but there probably is something that you are doing wrong here. The problems with this, which might not be completely obvious in the beginning, would be that there's no structure in this whatsoever, and this actually produces a very high variance. So the output can be very drastically different depending on the input, and it is also very difficult to debug itself. So to actually combat these issues, we will use a technique today, or I'll quickly show you something that I would like to call divide and conquer prompts. And assalamu alaikum. My name is Yunus, and I'll be teaching that today. And also I'll be going through an example with how that it can help and how it actually helped me with a task actually that I did. So let's actually look at how this should work on like a higher level, right? So if you have a large prompt, what you can do is actually you can try to make it into smaller prompts, get that output, and then put it back into a larger output. So to really show this, I want to show you like an actual task that I did, where this really helped. So what we wanted to do is actually automatically calculate the grade of a assignment based on a user submission of the assignment, right? So imagine, for example, an essay, right? So a user submits an essay. So we have here user essay. And we would also have a grading scheme which would help the LLM decide what the grade is, right? And of course, we also had instructions of how exactly the AI should grade it or the LLM should grade it. And then we put this all into one single prompt and try to just get a single output, like a large output with the feedback and the grade from this, okay? And the problem that we have here is that there was a very, very high variance of this actually, because the thing is, like, for some reason, actually, the LLM would take the grading scheme a bit too serious, actually. And since it didn't have anything to compare it to, users would get really bad scores, actually. So what I proposed then, and what we then implemented, which was a lot better pipeline with this. So the first thing that we actually did is we first tried to get this essay, okay, as an example, or let's actually call this assignment, user assignment, right? Which could be multiple exercises in an essay, in an assignment or something like that, right? So we took this and then we created out of this a JSON with some metadata, okay? So this was actually like this JSON with the metadata was then actually just filled in by an LLM, okay? So it would first take this and all it did in the smaller prompt is create a JSON out of this assignment, right? So this would have then of course like some metadata and the exercises to that too, okay? Now, what we did then actually after this, or actually before this, is we would take the instructions of this assignment and also create a JSON out of it, right? And what we did then actually is also added solutions to it, sample solutions. So the AI can actually compare the user solution then with the assignment solution, okay? And all that is then is I just actually then did a for loop where I went through each exercise here. Let's say, for example, here's exercise 1, right? And then I would take here the exercise 1 of the solution, right? And we would compare then these two in one prompt of the LLM, okay? And this would get the output of a single exercise graded. And we would then just concatenate this into a array, right? So we would have then a list of graded exercises with the score and the feedback of this exercise itself. And after we have that, all that we do then is actually just put this into a HTML template. HTML template. And out of this, of course, you can generate a PDF and all of these things, right? And that's all it is. So what we did is we broke down this bigger prompt into a lot of smaller prompts. As you can see, in this case, it was exercise wise with the solutions to, to compare it to. And we got a lot better results. The grading was a lot better. It was a lot closer to what a actual teacher could then respond with. And of course, then after that, a teacher can also look at it and pass the final grade and all of that. But yeah, this is all I wanted to share, just a way on how you can actually divide one big prompt into a lot of smaller prompts, like you would do exercise wise, and then ask the LLM for these exercise wise solutions or outputs, and then concatenate it back into a single output. And that's it. And that's all I wanted to share with you today. Inshallah, this helps someone. Again, I have nothing to sell, you know. So yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.